Yeah, so how have you been dealing with everything? You know, everything cool? Like, I know this is like a fucking what have either of us done to prepare us for something like this?
I tell you, man, it's been weird. In one respect, I'm cool because of my job situation. You know, I'm working from home. I'm fully employed, fully insured.
Yeah.
You know, the other aspect is that I've never had to work from home before. There was a brief moment for like 2 days during Hurricane Sandy where I had to work from home, and I remember hating it. Yeah. And then it's funny, I had done an interview for a fanzine right at the very beginning of this predicament, and it went up online the other day, and I read it, and I said something in it like, well, I don't know, I guess we'll have to be home for at least a month. And I was kind of like laughing to myself now, like, shit, if it was only a month, that would be great. I'm actually 7 weeks in this coming Wednesday. I've been working from home. So I think I don't know, I'm making the best of it, but I hate it. I hate not being able to just go out and do shit. And I hate not being able to see my friends and play music and go to shows. And it sucks, and go to the movies. And there's like a million things I miss, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
I'm happy to be alive.
Yeah, I'm glad to be alive too, man. And it's like, but there's like this ever-present anxiety, though. You know what I mean? Especially,
yes,
especially here in New York, we're on the tip of the spear. This whole thing, man, and you know, I mean, if you watch Governor Cuomo, the numbers are coming down, but you know, it's a long road till things are anything like what they were prior to this, you know?
I know. I do watch him every single day, and today's numbers, the death numbers, I call them.
Yeah.
It was the lowest it's ever been. It was like 490.
Yeah. I think it was lower than that, actually. But
yeah. I mean, it's like last week, like I felt like every day for 3 weeks straight, it was 800 or something.
Yeah.
Like every day, like, which is insane. Like, I just to really think about that. You know, like I said, kind of knocking on wood and feeling fortunate. But at the same time, like, I'm having horrible sleep. Like last night I fell asleep 4 a.m. Couldn't sleep till 4 a.m. You know?
Yeah.
And I still have to wake up in the morning for work every morning, which kind of helps though. Having a routine helps. But it's even hard to get on board with the routine. It really is.
Yeah. I had a hard time falling asleep last night. I before I went to bed last night, I was convinced that I had contracted COVID-19 for some reason. It's like, I mean, I've been doing these workouts on the roof, and the last like couple weeks it's been kind of cold. So, I get sweaty and, whatever. I come downstairs, and last night I was like, I was sneezing, and I'm laying in, getting ready to go to sleep, and I'm like, man, I think I'm gonna die. I got COVID-19, and I had a nightmare and all this shit. So, I mean, I feel better today, but there's like that weird anxiety, and
yeah, me too. Like there have been a few nights. I bought a thermometer a month ago, and it was a smart investment.
Yeah,
and there have been days where I've had low grade fevers. It's never gone above 99.5. That was the highest it's ever been, which is the beginning of a fever in an adult.
Yeah.
So I've never had like a high fever, but I felt like there was a period in the last 4 or 5 weeks where I really was feeling questionable. And honestly, Mike, it comes and goes still.
Yeah. I mean,
like, it's strange.
To be completely honest, I've kind of been sick since like mid-February.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, not anything crazy, but I'd sneeze, I'd have just kind of typical like midwinter, like late winter kind of stuff, and
right.
I wasn't like staying home from work or anything, or I was just living my life. But, I've been like under the weather for like literally since February. So, and even last week, that was kind of the thing where I've been trying to work out every day, and Friday of last week, I was like, you know what, let me take it easy. I feel under the weather. And then same thing happened this week. Friday comes around, I'm like, feeling a little bit under the weather. But like I said, it's not, I'm good, but it's just probably one of those things, just the anxiety, the stress,
Yeah, I think
exhausting.
psychologically, the stress, exactly, it's bad, man. It's bad for you. It's just, I really can't wait for the day that, and I do think it's going to come. I think people will mentally start to feel a little better, like I also feel like in New York for every day for like 14 days, like it's been like kind of just dreary every day, and just kind of like not warm enough,
Yeah, exactly.
And today's kind of another shit day, and I just looked at I look at the weather forecast every day, and the next like 5-6 days is going to be more like today. It's like shitty, like it's not going to be what it should be, and it's just that kind of adds to it too. It's just shitty all around.
But yeah, I mean, it's been a real trip, man, do this whole thing, and I don't know. It's just been for me. I think it's probably been about 5 weeks since I've been out and about in the world,
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I've been going out. I mean, I go to the grocery store. I've even been to my girlfriend's house. I have not taken the train in 7 weeks, or the bus 7 weeks. I've taken an Uber over there, and it's been fine, and she's been feeling fine. That's why I almost feel like it's just kind of on me, like like it's just, I think the toll it's taking on me mentally is more real than any physical symptom, honestly.
yeah, no, right. But the mental is fucking real, man. You know what I mean? And it's coming out in different ways. Like I was saying, I had a nightmare last night, and I barely ever I sleep like a baby every night usually, and
Wow.
I was like up and tossing and turning, and next thing I know, it was time to get up, and similar to you, I like wake up and I keep the routine. I usually clock in between 6:30 and 7 at work, and do my thing, and that's it, and then move on to the other stuff I got planned for myself. That's I feel fortunate once again, because I think I would be losing my mind if I didn't have work to do, if I didn't have anything to do.
Me too, man. Oh my goodness, it would be. And aside from the other ramifications, of course,
yeah.
Geez, so many people I know are just, that one check is not really going to cut the mustard, and for the people who can't get unemployment, I imagine it's just even worse, But like I said, a part of me wants to be optimistic about some things in the coming months. I think we are going to turn a corner, and I think the numbers are going to change, and it's just, it's going to be a while, but it's not forever. It is like things will get better. I do think they will get better at some point.
Yeah, I'm on that same mindset too. Coincidentally, today was supposed to be the first day of the Napalm Death Tour for us.
Oh man, that's a bummer.
Yeah, it's still. I got the notification in my schedule this morning. It was like Chicago Napalm Death Tour, and I was like, "Fuck, man,"
I saw that Napalm put up all their merch that they had ready for the tour for sale, and man, they had some nice merch for the tour.
Dude.
I may partake.
Yeah.
Help them out.
Fucking A, man. I mean, it's like we didn't order any merch because we got the notification that, I mean, for them, they were coming over to the States like a while ago. And
Yeah,
like I said, our part of the tour started today, so we had all this lead time. So we didn't buy any merch, so that was a good thing. We weren't stuck with a huge bill like that,
Yeah. because I know the festival tour bands too. Like they've been trying to, like I saw Gate Creeper did like a big sale, and they sold almost all their shit that they had, and it's almost like a collector's item because it's for a tour that never happened.
Yeah, totally, man.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the tour that never was. You know.
Yeah, but I guess what's good is that I've been having a lot of time to read and watch movies since there's nothing else to fucking do. So
yeah, same here. I have a huge collection of DVDs and Blu-rays, and then on top of that, I literally have 6 streaming services. So
yeah, I'm on the same. I'm at that same level too right now.
With stuff. There's lots of stuff. I bogged down. I got DC Universe back literally right when this first hit, and I love it as a DC Comics guy. The Titans show is amazing, and Swamp Thing season 1 was great, and unfortunately it's not coming back. And now I want to jump into a bunch of the other stuff they have on there. They have a ton of comics on there. They have the new Harley Quinn cartoon is fucking amazing. It's like adult themed.
Yeah.
There's like cursing, and it's really good. I mean, everybody in the entire DC universe makes an appearance in it, and it's very well written, and it's funny, and it's just very entertaining if you're a DC Comics person. Even if you're not a DC Comics person, if you're like one of these, Harley Quinn people, it's definitely something to fucking watch.
Yeah, it seems like there's like a Harley Quinn fan base that actually doesn't even read comics.
Oh yeah, 100%, man. That started a few years ago. There's with the cosplay, and absolutely, people just like her, and they may not pick up her monthly comic, but they're all about her merch and the tchotchkes and everything, which is, hey, it's cool. A lot of times it could lead to comic book reading, but sometimes it doesn't. But I also have Shudder, which I need to pay more attention to it. But lately, what has been controlling my life has been Ray Donovan on Showtime.
Really? I never got into that. Maybe it's time for me to dig into Ray Donovan.
All right. I will make a bold statement. I defy anyone to watch season 1, episode 1 of that show and not want to watch every single season. That's how good the first shot is. My girlfriend and I, it was right at the start, I think, of the coronavirus, like the second week of March. We were like, neither one of us have seen Ray Donovan. Let's watch it. And now we're both obsessed, and we're on to like season 6 or 7 or whatever. It's fucking great. It is really great. The rough premise is a Boston family kind of relocated to California, and Ray Donovan, Leaf Schreiber, is kind of the main guy in the family, and he's like a Hollywood fixer. And he works for Elliot Gould as his boss, and John Voight is his dad. His dad is like a real piece of shit. John Voight won some Emmys for this show.
Really?
Leif Schreiber was nominated a bunch of years in a row for the show. It's just really good. It's I don't know what I could compare it to. I mean, somewhat of The Sopranos, but not really. It's kind of it's its own thing, but it's really fucking good. It's like, it's kind of dirty. It's really violent. It's kind of got almost a adult comic booky qualities to it, to me at least. I feel like Ray Donovan could have his own, monthly adult book, in my opinion, but it's just a really great fucking show. Check it out.
Yeah, I like Lev Schreiber. I'm a fan, and the rest of the cast is like pretty heavy hitting. John Voight's awesome. Yeah.
And Hank Azaria is on a bunch of it, and then Stephen Bauer, Manny from Scarface. Yeah. He is unreal on this show. He's great, absolutely great.
I have to admit this, and it's I'm embarrassed to say that I haven't seen Boardwalk Empire. It's an entirety.
Well, I'm going to admit too, I have not seen the end of it. I missed the entire last season or the last season and a half, but I really enjoyed the hell out of all the other shit I saw leading up to it. So I don't know. At some point, I got to get back on the horse. But now it's just there's only so many hours in the day, even under quarantine. There's only so many.
Yeah, my parents swear by it. I mean, I when I would go visit them, they would be watching it, and I would catch episodes here and there, and I was like, yeah, this is definitely something I'd be into. But I at the the whole thing's, I don't know how many seasons there are, but it's like a pretty epic story,
Yeah, no, it's great, man. Especially those first few are fucking great. Aside from that kind of stuff, I've been picking up Blu-rays again, and I've kind of done some double dipping because I feel like some of the DVD quality on some of the stuff it just doesn't hold up,
Yeah.
And I bought the Blu-ray of Lizard in a Woman's Skin, one of my favorite Lucio Fulci movies. Mondo Macabro has the Blu-ray, and man, it looks fucking gorgeous. I mean, throw away your DVDs, gorgeous. It's funny. I read this article about Blu-rays versus DVDs, and still, most people who buy physical product, like the DVD number is still higher than Blu-rays. But the funny part is that these people are watching them on TVs and in setups that are designed for Blu-rays. Like they're kind of doing themselves a disservice by not watching these things on Blu-ray.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, price-wise too, man. It's like there's not even that much difference in cost really between DVDs and Blu-rays.
$3, $2, yeah, $3. But honestly, it's if you and I are movie guys, and we're if you're like a movie person, you should be watching things on Blu-rays. If you're buying physical product, you should cease your DVD buying, honestly.
And also, a lot of times, like you buy the Blu-ray and they give you the DVD.
Yeah, well, there's combo packs. Exactly. A lot of companies do combo packs, including the companies that we like. Synapse and Severin, and Mondo Macabro has a couple of combo packs. This Lizard in a Woman's Skin, though, is a Blu-ray only because, truthfully, it's been released on DVD 3 other times in America. So, but this was one of the first American Blu-rays, and it just looks so great, and it reminds you how how good a director Fulci can be when he's doing his good shit. He's almost like Argento gets more of the love, and a lot of people will be quick to say his movies were better, but honestly, Fulci's great streak is really just kind of right up there with Argento's great streak. To me, Lizard in a Woman's Skin, Don't Torture a Duckling, and Zombie are fucking amazing movies, Then there's another one on top of the other, which is another fucking great, kind of lesser known Fulci movie, earlier Giallo film, which is fucking awesome. I also picked up something from Severin that came out last year, and I slept on it, but I bought it, on eBay. I paid way too much money for it new. Blood on Satan's Claw.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, they made a 3,000 piece only.
Oh man.
Blood on Satan's Claw with a Blu-ray and CD soundtrack that sold like wildfire because it had this cool kind of slipcover on it. But I basically paid double for it on eBay because I really wanted it. I think I'm going to watch that tonight. My buddy who has this says it looks unbelievable on this Blu-ray from Severin. I've never seen this movie, Mike. You've seen it?
Yeah, years and years ago. I'm a big fan of those like 70s like devil movies, like Satan worshippers.
Folk horror. It's a folk horror classic, and a lot of people consider it one of the best British horror films ever, and one of the best European horror films ever. So I'm pretty excited to watch this one.
That's awesome, man. Enjoy it. Yeah. I haven't been buying any Blu-rays because my Blu-ray player is in storage until Friday. Actually, when I finally get at all of my stuff from my apartment,
Cool.
become live like a human being again. And
yeah. Well,
but,
Diabolic, that company Diabolic DVD is having this great sale right now of all the Arrow stuff, and Arrow makes fucking amazing Blu-rays as well. And I placed an order with them the other day. I'm waiting for some great stuff to come my way. I got Cruising on Blu-ray coming from them. They put it out last year. It's supposed to be a really nice Blu-ray of Cruising to replace my DVD. And then I picked up some older Argento stuff, which I didn't have on Blu-ray, like Bird with Crystal Plumage, which is one of my favorites, and Cat of Nine Tails, which I've never owned any copy of, actually. So that's going to be nice on Blu-ray. But before that, I picked up two other cool things from them. I picked up Hot Dog the Movie on a unrated producer's cut from Synapse. Remember the 80s ski movie, Hot Dog?
I think I'm getting that confused with something else, but what's the premise of that one?
Well, the thing is, okay, Hot Dog, it's a winter skiing competition. And the funny thing about this movie, it's a part of the teen sex canon.
Okay.
However, there are no teenagers in this movie, and no one is even in college in this movie. They're all adults in this movie, actually. It's a part of that world, and that wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But there are no teenagers in this movie. Everyone is probably in their 30s in this movie, late 20s. But it is a part of that world. It's like Rocky meets Animal House on skis is kind of the one-liner. But it has David Naughton in it from American Werewolf in London.
Oh, no way. All right.
Who does David Naughton? Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen
I saw this movie as a young child once or twice, and I think I hadn't seen it since, so it'll be kind of a treat to watch this on a nice Blu-ray, too.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen David Naughton in another film besides American Werewolf in London, at least I'm aware of.
Well, when we were kids, he was in the Dr. Pepper commercial. That's the other thing I might remember him from.
The Dr. Pepper commercial?
It was this big Dr. Pepper commercial. It was very kind of elaborate with like singing and dancing. And he was like the main dude in that commercial. I remember that, actually. And also, what else did I get from Arrow? Alice, Sweet Alice.
Oh, yeah, it's classic.
Wow. This movie packs quite a punch, man. Another one that I saw when I was young, a very long time ago, and probably just, couldn't remember much about it. This is a really, really good movie that looks really great on Blu-ray. There was like a version, I think, on Amazon Prime, and it looked like shit. But this is the way to go. It's shot in Paterson, New Jersey. The whole thing takes place in Paterson, New Jersey in the 70s. Stars a very young Brooke Shields. I believe it's the first movie she did. She's not in much of it. Don't want to give too much away. But it's a really great movie. It's the guy who directed it, Alfred Solé, never really did much else, actually. It's kind of interesting. Before this, he did this infamous adult movie called Deep Sleep that almost landed him in jail. He shot a porno using all the money from his family and friends in like 1972. Pretty much completely illegally, all over Paterson, New Jersey, in different places in the daytime, at nighttime, wherever he could, get it going. And it got released. And then like the feds found out about it and he almost went to prison. It was this whole crazy story. Yeah. But after that, he went on to do this horror movie, Alice, Sweet Alice. And fucking amazing, amazing movie.
Yeah, that's a classic for sure. All of my movie watching has been done over streaming. I've either been renting or it's already been available on whatever different streaming services I have. And I kicked off the quarantine with watching Omega Man with Charlton Heston.
Oh, nice. Oh, I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, I ended up purchasing that one on Prime because I think it was like $7 or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like the Richard Matheson I Am Legend book. I mean, that's a great classic book, and I don't know, it was kind of unnerving to watch that in the beginning, you know, because there's just like this global pandemic and all those people dying and
Yeah,
everything.
my girlfriend and I watched that one. What's that one from like 10 years ago with that literally is almost mimicking what is happening right now with all the stars in it?
Contagion.
Yeah, we watched that right when it started, and I was like, oh, why are we watching this?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm exaggerating a little that it's kind of mimicking everything, but there are quite a few similarities to that movie and what has unfolded. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean it's accurate like scientifically with all the terminology and stuff. I mean, people aren't. It's not like one of these deals where you get in Contagion there was like a 100% death rate or something like that.
Yeah, no, it was a little much, right? It was, yeah. I mean, it was a movie. You know what I'm saying? It was fiction, but yeah, that's the only one of those that I've watched. But aside from that, as far as streaming, I've watched Color Out of Space.
Oh man, yeah,
which I loved, and I'm probably going to bog down and get the Blu-ray of that. And I've noticed that when I've told people I've watched that movie because of my terrible Brooklyn accent, people have said Colorado what? So I will re-say the name of the movie, Color Out of Space. So yes, not Colorado, no. So it's really good. I mean, it's a little different. I mean, people compare it to Mandy. I mean, it's a little more kind of, I don't know, of a linear, kind of less crazy movie than Mandy, right? I mean,
yeah. Well, I mean, it's an adaptation of a H.P. Lovecraft short story. So
what's great about this adaptation is it's actually a lot of it is on the money. I read the short story right before the Contagion, and I enjoyed it. And as I'm watching the movie, I'm like, oh, wow, he kept a lot of lines of dialogue. He kept a lot of the names, and, there's a lot of similarities to it. But the cool thing is that he made it way more digestible, I think. And I think it's something that people who say may not like H.P. Lovecraft's books and stuff and might not like, that kind of style of how it's written, they'll like this movie. They'll like how he's put his modern stamp on it.
I think it'd be really interesting to see what people who aren't familiar with Richard Stanley and aren't familiar with H.P. Lovecraft, if they're not familiar with either one of those things, that the movie is going to be like complete insanity to them. They'll probably,
Yeah, I read some reviews where people were like, "Oh, I don't get the hype on this," and blah blah blah. But I think it's really great, and honestly, I haven't watched a shit ton of say 2020 horror, but I've watched that, and I've watched Invisible Man.
Yeah,
both of them are fucking wonderful to me. So
I saw Invisible Man, but I thought it was. I'm about I don't know 80% on that movie because one of the things I don't like, and it's the when they take an old story and they spin it into this new woke culture,
Okay, yeah.
And I don't know. It's like I liked the movie. I thought it was cool. It was good. But also maybe if every film that I've seen recently has a reversal of like, a female is now the male. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm all about like women having strong roles in movies. However, when you just take a character that used to be male or a protagonist and then just make it a female, I just think that's like a lazy way of making your point that women should have empowerment and like that women are valid.
Oh, I hear you. But the interesting thing about this movie, though, is the Invisible Man is a man.
Yeah.
but he's just not the star of the show, as
Right.
in the traditional Invisible Man, which to me is one of the greatest Universal movies. The original Invisible Man, I fucking love it.
Right.
Now I noticed like they've kept some of the kind of, some moments or whatever, but I mean they made their own new movie. Let's honestly, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's about spousal abuse and toxic masculinity, which like, I mean, like every movie's about that these days. You know what I mean? It's like, a toxic male character, a victim. And I'm just like, make another film about it. But I don't know. I just think it's, for me, it's like overkill. And I think that I would rather see that story told in a different way than by using, like in the form of a remake. Like I'm not a big remake fan as it is. Like I have a very short list of remakes that I even enjoy. And then to take it and use it as like some kind of weird political thing is like what really turns me off to it a little bit.
If you go to the original Claude Rains movie, he was just a bastard scumbag for kind of no reason. And they kind of kept that. I mean, we don't know why. Like, this guy had really no reason in the new Invisible Man to do what he was doing. Like, like he was just a control freak and he was abusive. But he was a rich guy who had it all and who kind of got off on all this.
Yeah.
So there's a little connection there, right? A slight connection. But it is quite different, though. No, overall, it's a different, ball of wax, right?
One of the things, and I'm going to give a spoiler out here, but she murders him at the end of the movie, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that was cool.
It's debatable whether or not he actually was the guy killing everyone, because there's like, you can argue with that it was his brother.
Yes. Oh, no. No. What I came away with, we're spoiling the movie, but whatever, it's been out a while, is that they both did things. He did like me and my girlfriend agreed that the brother did some of the killings, and the husband did something, but the husband overall was a piece of garbage.
Yeah, no, 100% he was, definitely.
That's the thing, right? The brother did, I think, the brunt of the killings. Yeah, possibly. But it was kind of like the two of them. What I'm interested to see is if and when Universal decides to say pick another of the classic monsters, quote unquote, and what they do. Like, I mean, you could make a cool vampire movie, and plop it in like a modern setting, and just, I don't know, I feel like that can be done. The Dracula thing that was on Netflix that was taken from BBC.
Yeah.
I thought initially that's what that was going to be.
Right.
But in a weird way it was, but in a weird way it wasn't. I'm so conflicted about that series, by the way. I don't even know what I think about it. Like, there were parts of it where I'm like, this is so great. And then there were parts of it I'm like, oh my God, this is terrible.
Yeah, I'm like 50-50 on it. I didn't even finish watching the whole thing, actually.
I liked the beginning a lot. It started very well. I almost was hoping it would stick to like the old school trappings, and then when they threw them into the new world, it just was like, oh, okay, I
didn't even get to that part where they went.
Oh yeah, they wound up in the modern world, by the way. Yeah,
weird. I mean, I'm always a big fan for werewolf movies, and but you know what? I got to be honest, man. I am afraid to see what they will do with a Wolfman film. I got to be honest.
Yeah,
it won't be what I want. It'll be something different. That's not as good. I mean, it's like, I don't know. Like, I don't want them to fuck around with that shit, really.
True. What's interesting is I read somewhere that how people of a certain age think fondly of the Universal classic monsters is how people of our age think about Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, and Leatherface.
Yeah.
Like, they have replaced the Universal monsters, and like the Universal monsters, Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, etc. They're not really like scary, right? They just kind of bring to mind a certain style of film and a certain era and a certain like nostalgia, and there's just something cool about it, right?
Well, I think that if you could make Dracula scary, you could make vampires terrifying, really.
Sure. But like their characters, like you see that kind of like painted white face and like the slick back hair. It's not like something that a kid is scared of. Kids are not scared of the Universal monsters, and I almost feel like we've turned a corner that kids are now not even afraid of Freddy, Jason, Leatherface, and Michael Myers.
Well, Michael Myers is scary, straight up. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like he's always going to be scary because he's just like this shape. You know what I mean? He's like my favorite of the '80s.
He is my favorite too. Oh, absolutely,
slashers, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you could make. I mean, I don't know if anyone will, just because of the climate that we're in. But you could make a great Dracula. You could make a great Wolfman.
Yeah, really good.
Creature from the Black Lagoon could be good. That's a sleeper.
We enjoyed the Wolfman. Was it from 2010 or 11?
Yeah,
that was a good movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. People didn't really like it though, but I thought it was pretty cool.
No, I don't know. I think it's a niche. Like unless it's got some really mega hype behind it, which is of course what drives things now. It's like those can be hard sells. But Invisible Man, hey man, it was a hit. So I feel like that was the foot in the door. So we'll see what happens, in the future.
I like the technology they did for the Invisible Man. They made it this kind of suit. That was clever, I thought.
Yeah, no, I thought that was great. So I want to tell you something that was weird that happened.
Go ahead.
Right at the start of the pandemic, about 2 weeks before the pandemic, right? I'm a big Brian Keene fan. Brian Keene is a horror writer, American horror writer from Pennsylvania who I have almost every one of his books. He's got a very large array of novels and short stories out there. I had ordered this book in like January, February that he wrote called The End of the Road, which is not a fiction book. It's just like an account of his entire year that he spent on the road in 2016 and his thoughts on horror and even like politics and the modern world and traveling. And, it's not like a novel. It's not a fiction horror short story novel. But right around the time that I got it, and like the cover is this sign and like this road with like a lightning. It just says the end of the road, like this kind of like, daunting kind of cover. And right as I started reading it is when all the shit hit the fan.
Oh, man.
And it's been sitting in my living room amidst where I keep my DVDs and stuff on these shelves. And I've just been looking at it. I've been looking at that cover and like that title for like weeks. And I've managed to get about halfway through the book. It's this beautiful hardcover that's actually signed by him.
Oh,
it's
cool.
like a limited edition, And I just felt like it was the most prophetic thing ever. That getting this book and ordering this book. And I remember like it was a little delayed, like it was supposed to hit, the people's hands by like January something or February something. And it finally came out like late February, early March. And it's just, I don't know, it's one of those strange things to me.
The book itself, though,
yeah.
It's not about like the end of the world or anything, though. It's just about like his experiences on the road.
Yes, and he called it The End of the Road because he's like, I may never do a promo for a book like this ever again, And it was just so strange how like life just kind of like, the coincidence of just the title of a book versus like the real life, I don't know, just something that I've been thinking about. And I'm like, why haven't I finished this book? Like, I love Brian Keene. I listen to his podcast. I read his books. I have not finished this book. This book is like like this fucking voodoo doll in my living room.
You got to finish it, man. That's like, it's maybe if you finish reading that book, all this will be over with. Maybe that's what'll happen.
Maybe things will be better. Who the fuck knows? Mike, I swear to God, I have avoided this book, and it's a good book. It's really cool. It's kind of a fun book, actually. It's not a negative book. It's not like a downer. It's not a fucking scary book, you know? It's just about his life and his thoughts, and it's 2016 and like the political climate. It's just, you know, all this kind of non-horror in a way.
Yeah.
His original idea behind it is that he wanted to write his own Danse Macabre, like Stephen King wrote.
Yeah.
Ever read that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was great. Excellent.
Yeah, he wanted to write an update on that, and then his whole joke is that this book is almost nothing like that. It turned out to be something completely different. And yeah, I have to finish the book, and I will. I will finish it. It's, you know, it's going to be like a rare, you know, collector's piece, this book, I think, you know, because it's not coming out in softcover, I don't think. I think it was like this like special one-shot deal that's like signed by him, and it's like numbered, you know.
I should try to get into Brian Keene again. I tried like several years ago, back when at the Brooklyn Monster Factory days. I remember you recommended him to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think now if I revisit Brian Keene's work, I might appreciate it more. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, he also just put out a very kind of like a mini book called The Triangle of Belief.
Okay.
And this is also a non-fiction book. It's about a night in January 2018 when him and his girlfriend witnessed a UFO outside of their home.
Oh man, see, that's right up my alley, man. UFOs and shit like that.
It's only about $8 or $9 on Amazon right now. Maybe this should be
all right. Yeah,
your Brian Keene purchase is called The Triangle of Belief. Yeah.
My main man now, as far as new writers go, is Adam Neville. Do you know who that is?
No.
All right, he wrote The Ritual, that movie. It was the film version.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, his book. I mean, the Netflix film version of it was awesome. I enjoyed it. His book crushed that by all.
Okay.
This book was so fucking good, man. And then his brand new book that just came out called The Reddening. I got like 50 pages left. It's like 400 something pages long, and it's I just tore right through it. I mean, especially, you know, you're like locked in the house all the time. So
yeah. What's that one about?
Oh man, it's about all of his work has these connections to like ancient sort of pre-Christian folklore. You know,
okay.
There's always this like very archaic sort of vibe that takes place over, you know, time, and there's like a very slight sort of Lovecraftian thing that goes on. And this book has to do with this like secret society that exists in the rural part of the UK, and this guy that was like a folk singer, and there's always like a weird musical connection, which leads me to believe that Adam Neville is a fan of like extreme music, because he always references like black metal, and even this guy is like this kind of a post-apocalyptic folk sort of guy, you know what I mean? One of those like evil folk singers, you know, and he gets involved in this cult that has to do with these like ancient creatures that live underground.
Ooh,
yeah,
nice.
It's fucking so, dude. I can't recommend it enough to anyone. It's I feel like I'm going to go on a tear and read all of his other stuff probably when I'm done with this. And yeah,
it's called The Reddening.
The Reddening, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And his writing style is great too. It's like it almost has like a Lovecraft vibe to it. The way he writes, the way he uses the English language. It's very descriptive. It's very atmospheric. It makes references to a lot of like, you know, like he uses, you know, words like shadows and darkness a lot and all that kind of stuff. So.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll check it. I do want to read the book, the earlier book. So. Yeah,
The Ritual. But I really enjoyed the Netflix version of it, but it really only told part of the story. The story that's portrayed in the novel is like there's like a whole section that wasn't even part of the movie. So yeah, I highly recommend reading the novel.
Awesome. Very cool. And I've also been on an Ed Reed Finette kick again. I watched All the Colors of the Dark, my Blu-ray from Severin, which also, again, just looks so much better than the damn DVDs. It's not even funny. And I pre-ordered. They have making its American Blu-ray debut, The Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward, which to me is one of the greatest giallo films ever made. So I'm excited to get that. That comes out sometime in May. And Severin also made a cool T-shirt for that one, just like they did for All the Colors of the Dark. So looking forward to some fun mail.
Yeah, that's been like the high point of the day is like getting
mail.
It
is. I got to tell you, man, for people outside of New York, I'm not sure how it is with your mail right now. Mail has been ridiculous. Like I'm hitting like week 4 for a record I ordered from a guy on Discogs that has just sitting in the USPS abyss, and it's obviously due to the COVID pandemic. It's just crazy. Like, I mean, I think the U.S. Postal System workers have been hit quite hard, so it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, I can't imagine those guys not being hit hard and the kind of work that they have to do going out and delivering packages and mail and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So, like, and then like I went to the post office the other day, and there was one person behind the counter, like where there's like like 5 kind of like setups, just one person working.
Was there a line?
Yeah, there's like 10 people behind me, and I was like, oh wow. So it's probably they're probably definitely getting hit, just like the transit workers are really getting hit.
Dude, I don't even go anywhere, man. I literally I don't leave the building for days at a time. Like I go up to the roof, I work out, maybe I go get the mail, check the package, see if there's a package. And if I have to shop, I drive out to New Jersey, man. I go to the Whole Foods out in Metuchen, the town I'm moving to. And it's it's only like 40 minutes away. It's not even that far. But it's worth going out there because there's like, it's way less people. I feel like people are a little bit more conscious out there. Friends of ours have been talking about Whole Foods in the city where people aren't even wearing masks. Like you go in and they're like, it takes you like an hour to get into the store, and there's like no one's wearing a mask.
Yeah, I wear a mask everywhere I go, and I wear gloves. I had to do laundry today, Mike. I went to a laundromat. I wore my mask and gloves. Unfortunately, I don't have a washer and dryer in my home, so that's it. That's one of the drawbacks. But everybody in the laundromat was wearing a mask and gloves. And
you got it, man. I mean, it's the only way. At least till. I mean, it's the unknowns. It's like. Probably not every single person you run into is carrying this disease, but it's like you don't want to take your chances,
No, absolutely not. And I don't know. I just think that the more people kind of like keep up with as much as they can with social distancing and the isolating, I think the better off we'll be. But I do think it's going to be a very restless and interesting summer in New York, to put it mildly.
Probably, yeah.
I think at some point people are going to be sick of doing these things. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sick already of it, but you got to do what you got to do, man. It's like,
yeah.
I think I've talked about this before to some other people, but back when I was a young lad taking Taekwondo, there's a thing called the horse stance, where if you would sit in this position for periods of time, a couple minutes at a time, you build up and you don't move. You just kind of stay in this position. And I think that as a result of doing that a lot when I was a young guy, learning these things, that I'm able to endure a lot of this bullshit of just hanging in there, I don't know, there might be something to that. But Old
But the
stuff
thing
that I've
is,
been.
I think,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. What was that?
if I don't know, I feel like the media is trying to help, but then they ultimately end up kind of just being like, I don't know, trying to scare the living shit out of people. Honestly.
The headlines are frightening, even when there's good news. Because
Yeah.
I subscribe to the Times and the Daily News, like online. Like I have
Okay.
subscriptions with them. So
Uh-huh.
I get the headlines every day. I get the, whatever the briefs are, and they show up on my email, and it's like the headline will be this like terrifying, thing to draw you
Mm-hmm.
in. But then as you read the article, you see that it's actually there's some not so terrifying stuff in there. Even as the infection rates are going down and the hospitalizations are going down, they'll say something like, they'll focus on the negative stuff as opposed to like how things are actually improving. And it just, it helps this, it creates this hysteria, with people.
Well, it's just weird because, like, that ship is going home. It's leaving next week. That big ship
Yeah.
that has people in it that they sent for New York
Yep.
that they thought we would need. That's going away. That's going to another city or whatever next week. And also those like outside tents are all gone.
Yeah.
And today I believe was the lowest death number we've had yet. So these are positive things. But of course, I don't really see the news talking about those three things.
No, they're not. They're focused on other shit, just creating, this like continuing the hysteria, And also, I don't know if you probably heard about the protests that happened against.
Oh no, I'm aware of that. Look, I see that in two ways. My initial reaction was, what a bunch of idiots,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that dangerous, blah, blah, blah. And then my other thought is, well, let's look at the city where the protest is. Let's look at the state where the protest is. And let's look at the infection numbers of where the protest is. New York and New Jersey and parts of California and New Orleans are like arguably the hardest hit, There are cities all over this country that are nowhere near what's happening here, okay? Because it's just, New York is the fucking capital of the world, tourism, etc. So I kind of feel some empathy for the people who are getting a bit antsy, a little bit, a hair, because I don't think they should have the same regulations as New York and New Jersey and these places I just mentioned, and some places don't, but I get it. Like I get the restlessness and I get the anger, I get that.
Right.
But what I don't get is the potential for spreading disease and illness. Like it's I don't know. I'm very kind of conflicted as to my feelings on it.
Yeah, but there were protests in Albany and in New York City too.
Now New York City has like 5 people doing it, but in those other places in like Pennsylvania and other parts of the country, I mean, look, I get it, man. I mean, if you're fucking hurting and your job has been fucking taken from you and you're like, well, I'm fucking healthy and my whole family's healthy and all my buddies are healthy and everyone in our town is healthy. What? So I get that, right? Do you see what I mean by that?
I see what you mean, but also I think that it's only a matter of time before those places start seeing exponential geometric increases in the amount of infections they have in those areas.
Possibly. It's honestly like that. Where was that? I forget that big protest the other day. I was just kind of saying to myself, well, we'll see what's going on in that particular town in 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
If nothing's doing, then hey, great. If all these people got sick, then not great. It's just, I don't know. I don't think in a way it's kind of good that it is up to certain governors to make those decisions, and it's not one blanket decision for the country, because I think that would be crazy,
Yeah, that would be insane.
I don't know. I think people are scared of being homeless, jobless, and penniless.
Yeah, no,
So
that's
get
real.
it.
That's a real concern, man. But like,
That's where this is coming from. And I think those effects will be felt down the line. Like right now, I think people are holding on.
but I think that we're lucky to be in the tri-state area, even though this is like the hardest hit area, because I feel like at least the local government has like a realistic plan as to what the fuck
Oh
we're going to
yeah,
be doing.
no, absolutely. Thank God we don't have somebody in office going, "We're opening in 3 weeks,
Yeah,
2 weeks."
nah, you couldn't. Yeah, I would feel like completely hopeless if that was the case.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I feel like it might not be as all doom and gloom this summer as some may think. I know that things will not be happening and things have been taken away, and that's okay. But I don't know. I think things will turn a more positive corner overall. I really do. And I just hope that we're able to get some things to fight this. I mean, I know, some of that's a bit more a way off than it is, it's further rather than closer. But I don't know, I'm just trying to stay positive because I think the drowning in the negativity has done me no good, and it's just doing anybody no good.
Yeah, definitely. No, I mean, to date, even the numbers and the types of rates that were projected, we didn't reach any of those. Like we always, the peak came quicker, less people died. So I know everyone's working really hard on trying to come up with a vaccine. So hopefully,
And that's a good thing too. We went from 2 million to 1 million, and now it's like 60,000. Like it's just, I don't know. Everybody's projections were way off, and I don't know. It gets frustrating. I'm not a scientist, I'm not the smartest man in the world, but I'm not an idiot. So these things kind of can be frustrating, and it's just like, well, okay, if it's not this and it's not this, why isn't it this? But this is something that I think is going to be around for a while, and I think coronavirus tests and coronavirus season is going to be a part of our lexicon.
Yeah, I think so too.
And the more we have to fight it, the more we have to treat it, the better. Because I think it's here to stay. I hope it isn't though, but I think it is.
Well, I mean, it might end up being like one of those things like polio or something like that. I mean, if you think about a longer timeline, and just the human history, the history of the human race. There's been plagues, there's been diseases, there's been like chicken pox, smallpox, like all these things, polio that like, and eventually there's a vaccine, and then you get vaccinated, and you don't worry about it anymore. I mean, do you worry about getting polio? Probably not.
No.
So,
no.
I mean, that's just how I see it. I mean, even the bubonic plague didn't destroy humanity, and there was like really no technology to fight it back then either,
No. And, yeah, it's fucking crazy. I feel bad for people younger than us and the, like kids, and, people missing graduations, people missing certain things in the, aspects of their life and kind of being robbed of it because of this fucking bullshit, it's kind of sad.
Yeah, but you know what? In the big picture, man, in another year, it's not even going to fucking matter, really. You know what I mean? It's like you're going to be like, oh shit, man, 2020 was the year all that crazy shit happened. And as time goes on,
Yes, I think getting over that hump and getting through it is going to be key.
Yeah.
And I just, hopefully I want as many people around as possible to be able to make that statement and say those sentences,
Do you know anyone who actually got sick?
What's that?
Have you known anyone who's gotten sick?
Oh yeah.
Really?
A couple people.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. But they're all the ones I know who got sick are alive. Yeah. So that's a good sign. I did just find out days ago that my aunt and uncle have it.
Oh, really?
Out in Long Island. Yeah,
How are they doing?
they're okay. They're okay. They have it, and yeah, they're in their mid late 70s. But they just got it. Like they just,
Oh man.
Symptoms. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I worry about my parents too. I mean, they're in the same age group, and but I mean, they're like up in Putnam County. Like they're in the part of the state that only like 6% of the total infections are in. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
yeah, I work with my mom too. Yeah.
Yeah, they're staying home. They're not doing anything. And they're in a relatively an area that's not really a hot zone. So I feel pretty confident about that.
No, yeah, my mom and her boyfriend they're not leaving the house or doing anything, but they're both very extremely social creatures. So I was worried, like I was worried about them because they love to go out, they love to go away, and they love to go out to eat and rest, and it's just a lot of those things they can't do. Period. But so far they've both been well. I mean, I just. Yeah, I mean, thankfully, people in my immediate circle of friends, I haven't heard about any of them having it. It's more like, people a little more outside of my closer group of friends that have had it. But they've had it and gotten through it.
I know one person that's had it and has recovered, and that would be my friend Mike de Guzman, who I actually had on the podcast earlier this week, and just to talk about his experiences with it, and he had a hard time with it. I mean, he also has had some a bit of a history with respiratory problems too, so that might have contributed to it. But it was no joke, man, and it's the struggle's real with this stuff,
To say the least, man. I mean, what was his worst symptoms?
Not being able to breathe.
Oh God, Jesus.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad one.
Yeah. See, I know the people who've had other just like more like feverish and just feeling like shit, like that aspect. But the not being able to breathe part is the scariest one.
Yeah. So it's keep that in the back of your head when you think about running outside without a mask on or doing whatever you want to do. Really, it's better just to like hang in there and stay home.
Yeah, man. See, some people have to go out because they can't get anybody else to do shit for them. I get that.
Yeah.
And, if you live alone, you get your food, or you get your laundry. I mean, there's no one else to do it. That's the thing.
Yeah. We just got to be careful.
Totally, man. So, what would be the first thing you would do if a magic wand was waved, and this was like gone, or like this is in the clear?
I'll go back and train Muay Thai. That's like the thing I miss the most.
Right to the gym, huh?
Yeah, and then after that, it'd be band practice. And the only reason why band practice is not the number one thing is because I've been working. We're able to work on music remotely, like these days. So
yeah. We have my band, The Last Stand. We have our release kind of delayed. It's a split 12-inch release because right as the band that we're doing it with, the singer was about to record his vocals, is right when this hit. So their end of the split has still not been completed. Like ours is mixed and done. It just isn't mastered yet. And so there's a bit of a wrench thrown in this release, but hopefully this release will come out this year.
Yeah, I mean, we're supposed to have an LP, and I mean, I haven't heard otherwise, so I'm assuming that we're still keeping the schedule. But we're in the middle of making an LP, and the drums are complete. We took a break because we were supposed to do this Napalm Death tour, and at the end of May, we're going to go back in and finish it, and then it gets mastered in June. And I mean, Yeah, I mean, doing the guitars and the vocals, you could just go in like one or two guys at a time. You know, it'll be fine. Like we'll definitely complete everything. And but yeah, I don't know, man. It fucked up our whole shit. Really, it's like we played one show this year, and so far it's like, you know, we played one show out in Jersey, which was awesome. We were supposed to play with Evokin a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, the Staten Island show. Yeah, I wanted to go to that.
Yeah, and it's just it was right in the beginning of this whole thing, man, where it was like, yeah, man, let's get this out of the way before like things get shut down. And then there wasn't an official word on things being shut down. There was just one of those, well, you can't have more than 250 people or something like that. And then the promoter was like, you know, I don't think we should do this. So, you know, and then we're hopefully we'll do it again at some point, because I was really looking forward to that show. I love Evokin. Like all the other bands on the bill were cool. And
totally, man. We did 3 shows this year, and one of them was at that place in Staten Island. Yeah. So it was the first show we did, and then we played a really good show in Manhattan, Niagara, A7 with Maximum Penalty, which was great. And then we played at that place in Long Island, Amityville Music Hall with Leeway and Murphy's Law, which was another great show. And that was it, March 7th. That was Saturday, March 7th. By Wednesday, the 11th, I was told to get my computer and go home that morning.
Dude. Yeah.
That was my last day in the office. And what's funny is that Tuesday, my coworker, Cassie, said to me, right 20 minutes before the end of the day, she's like, listen, you should probably take your computer home tonight because I'm hearing some things. And I'm like, no, really? And I remember like kind of brushing her off. And she was like, well, I'm taking mine home tonight. I'm like, okay. And she was right.
Wow.
That was March 10th, dude.
Yeah, I don't know what the dates are, but it was something like that for me too. It's like I remember my mom was like calling me at work, and she's like, oh, you know, be careful, like whatever, and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, you know, I'm fine. Oh, I heard about this thing, you know. And then one day I came to work, and there was this group that sits next to us in the office, and they were all gone. They'd already decided, they already were at home, like working. And that same night, I had all my gear to go to train at the gym. And then my mom called me again, and she's like, they closed down all the theaters on Broadway.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh, this sounds like this might be a serious thing, and maybe I shouldn't be like sweating on a room full of men at close quarters. So I just grabbed all my shit. And right around that time, my boss is like, take your computers home, and, you know, we're not coming in tomorrow. And I was like, oh, okay. So I grabbed all my gear, my computer, and that was like the last time I was in the office. It was just like, you know.
Looking back, it's almost like cinematic what happened with me. It was like, you know, it's like something out of like a movie, like, oh, you know, no, everything's going to be fine. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm not going to take my computer home with me. And then somebody's going, I don't know, but you should do it. You should do it. And I blew it off, and I was like, no. And yeah, that morning going into the building, it was really strange, dude. It was just like, there was like 3 people out of, you know, hundreds of desks that empty. I was like, wow. You know,
and you and I are both fortunate because, I mean, we both work for big organizations, you know what I mean? And I know, like, you probably the same thing with you. Like, the company I work for has like top-notch like IT, and like it's pretty flawless, actually. It's pretty seamless, the transition to working remotely. I can do all the same things I could do at my desk, basically, you know, without looking at anybody.
Yep.
You know,
just about.
You know, and it brings up another interesting thing too, is like, and my boss has even kind of confirmed this, that it's like when things do open up, we're probably not going to be working full time in the office anymore. That's what he told me, at least, you know.
We'll be last, and of the 50 states, we're the last to go, man. We're the last state to have we're the last state to have most of the sanctions lifted. Would you agree?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, honestly, working's cool. Like, I'm totally fine working at home. I do miss going into an office, honestly, at times.
Me too.
You know, I like the routine. You know, I actually, you know, I enjoy getting on the train and you know, listen to a fucking podcast or whatever.
Yeah.
Going to get coffee at, you know, Starbucks and saying hello to everybody, whatever. I'm surprised how much I miss that, actually. But I can make a living at home and it's fine and be safe. But, you know, my boss was saying that it's like we're probably going to go back to a 50-50 thing where every other week you come in.
Interesting.
Yeah. You know, and it's like staggered as to like how many people are in our area at a time, you know.
That's cool. I mean, I'll do whatever they want to do as long as I think it's safe and cool. And to me, one of my biggest concerns is getting on the gross, disgusting subway.
Yeah.
Hope that they have something in plans for that to, you know, clean the shit out of that and fucking do something about the homeless people that have turned it into hotels, from what I understand. So, something's got to be done there.
Let me ask you a question about, you know, I mean, you're a native New York City guy, and do you feel, before all this happened, did you feel like things were kind of getting back to almost like the 80s and 90s, like in New York City?
A little bit in the subway aspect.
Yeah.
Yes. Not on the streets. No, not on the street.
Well,
no way. But on the subway, I feel like I was starting to see a bit of an uptick in homelessness.
Yeah.
And an uptick in just kind of the crazy folk. Like, and, you know, and maybe a little bit of an uptick in just like the uneasiness.
Yes. That's what I was getting at mostly, is like this.
Yeah, a bit of an uptick. But at the levels of the 80s and 90s, no.
No, I didn't say anything like the 80s. But I mean, I felt like it was like turning towards
something
that.
Was brewing. Yeah. I'll say that. I felt like something had been brewing. Maybe it was this coronavirus.
Yeah, maybe. You know.
No. But yes, I think there was something brewing. And I felt like the trains were a little extra gross and a little extra unsafe, honestly.
Yeah, you know,
I would agree with that.
There have been times in the last 7, 8, 9 months where I've actually felt, I wouldn't say threatened, but like there might have to be a requirement for some decisive action in the last several months leading up to this. And I hadn't experienced that in quite a while, you know, and that's why I was like, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Totally. When I was a teenager, I was actually mugged. I was 15. It was, I remember it was like January, February 1989 on the F train. And it was not a fun feeling, you know? It was
fuck no, man.
It was terrible. It was terrible. But that was also a time when I was going into Manhattan every weekend, you know, with my brother, going to CB's, or whatever. That was a very, very different time period.
Yeah.
Subway crime was way higher. Crime on the street was way higher. I mean, man, it would take a lot for that to happen. But then there's some people that are of the mind frame that who knows what the summer is going to be like. That's
kind of what I was getting at. They're going to lead up to is because like where the office that I work out of, it's by Penn Station. You know what I mean? And it's on 7th Avenue. And, you know, I would get off the train early, like really early in the morning. You know what I mean? So the train activity at night, it was like the dudes were still sleeping when I would get on the train in the morning. So I would jump on the subway and it would just be like sleeping homeless people asleep, you know, like you were bothering them to get on the train to go to work. Right. So I would get off at you know, like Herald Square, that area, and I'd walk over to the office, and then right along like 36th or 37th Street in that area, man, right by there's a police station, and literally right across the police station, there's this. I saw this guy early in the morning, like shooting heroin, like on the fucking sidewalk.
That is fucking bonkers.
And
I
dude,
mean, yeah, it's some old school shit, man.
that's what I was like. I was like, that is, a blast from the past, man, for sure. Because it's been like a long time since I've seen anything like that in New York City. And the cardboard. I mean, you work in a different part of town, so like, and where I'm at is like more of the crazy homeless guys. You know what I mean? Like there was like always some kind of action on the streets.
Yep.
And I was just like, I was wondering. Now I'm like, without the kind of supervision, there's like no one in that part of town right now except for these people, and I wonder how it's going to be like this, like you were saying, this summer.
Yeah, I think this summer is going to be interesting. I really hope these cops who are sick get healthy.
Yeah.
Because I have a feeling they're going to be needed. If you add in the heat, the closing of the beaches, the closing of the pools, less police, and joblessness, this could be really interesting. Okay.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly.
So, brace yourself for that. Everybody strap in for that one, New York City people listening. That's why I really hope things turn around in the next month or two, honestly, because all of that added up is a disaster. And you can, people are only going to toe the line for so long if they're miserable and hungry and jobless.
Yeah, that's 100% the page I'm on too, man. I was just like looking ahead, looking down the line, because now it's going to be May, and
yeah. I mean, the weather's been really shitty now, but it won't be really shitty for long,
Yeah.
It's going to be.
And even in Governor Cuomo's press conferences, he kind of hints at that a little bit too, about now the weather's going to be getting nicer, people are going to be getting restless. That was like something he mentioned specifically,
Wow. Well, yeah, I mean, he knows. He was around for all that too. So, I mean, not
totally.
governor, but he remembers all that when his dad was around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they would have to do something interesting to combat that. I don't know. We will see, man. We'll see. I count my blessings, and I'm fortunate that, I've been able to weather the storm so far, and I hope I continue to weather the storm. And, I just taking it day by day. Every day is new.
Yeah. It's all you can do, man.
And so, I'm watching some great movies and reading some books and avoiding some books. And
So you said you have Shudder. So today, the Joe Bob Briggs, the next, whatever you want to call it, season of his like show.
Yeah. I got to check that out, man. Yeah. I think I'm going to watch that tonight. But if there's other things, there's just so much other shit, man. The Ray Donovan thing is a priority in my life right now. Ray Donovan, Mike.
Well, tonight was like we've been planning for this, tonight at the.
What movies is he showing tonight?
I don't know. It's like almost. It's almost. I haven't even looked into it really, but the movies are almost secondary in some ways.
Right, exactly.
It's. I really enjoy him. I'm glad he's back, and I've always been a big Joe Bob fan. And it's just cool to have him back. And I'd like to see if he's going to say anything about all the stuff we're going through. If that's going to be part of his narrative.
I'm sure he is. I have a great book by him about horror movies. Can't think of let's see the name of it right now. I'm looking at the book collection here. But he wrote a really cool book about like unseen horror movies.
Oh, okay.
The name is escaping me, but it is somewhere in my collection. I would recommend it. You could probably just Google Joe Bob Briggs' book. He's got like a chapter about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He's even got a chapter about like the movie Deep Throat. He's a cool guy. I always remember his scene in Casino.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? Robert De Niro was like wanted to fire him, and he was always like abusing him and stuff. That was really cool.
Casino.
Must have a good story about how he got that role. I don't know,
Yeah, that's Probably out of all of Scorsese's films, that's the one I go to the least. But it's a great movie, though.
Really? Yeah. Oh, dude! If that's on, that's it. I'm watching it, no matter what time it is.
I forgot what tour it was, but our drummer Justin's like a huge, just in general, like a huge like crime, gangster, mafia fan, and we had Casino. Oh no, it was Goodfellas. We had Goodfellas. He had like the movie on his computer. So whenever we'd go to like the hotel at the end of the night, we would plug his computer into the TV if they had one of those like smart TVs, and like Goodfellas would just run on this loop all night basically. Like I'd wake up at like 4 a.m. and the movie would just be on. We'd always start watching it and then everyone would fall asleep and the movie would just keep running.
Oh, the book is called Profoundly Disturbing by Joe Bradbury.
Yeah, I heard of that. I don't have it, but I heard of it. I think it's probably showed up in like different searches I've done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I would recommend it to anybody into like horror or exploitation movies or Joe Bob. Yeah, I've had it for a while.
Yeah. So, Mike, we got to come up with a game plan now that hopefully things are turning around. But we got to come up with a game plan to relaunch Necro.
Yes.
And, get some ideas. People are looking for new episodes, and
I know they sure are. Yeah, people have asked me about it, and I'm glad that's been on people's minds. And I think this is a good time for podcasting now because people have the time to listen.
And I got to be honest with you, man. I don't think I'm going anywhere for the rest of the year.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you, man.
I think I'm just going to stay where I'm at and do my thing, and there's going to be no road work this year at all, so I'll be around.
Okay. I think, I myself, I'm not going anywhere. However, I hope that I can at some point later this year go out to California, for pleasure, not for, music or business related. But even if that happens, that's not happening for a couple of months. So
yeah, we should come up with a game plan. Get some, get our ideas together, try to launch something maybe next month or something. Get this thing back on the road.
Absolutely, I think it's a good time for it, and it's just with all the streaming services, and there's just like an abundance of things to watch, really.
Yeah.
And there's just good availability of really good movies, I think. From the more underground stuff, from the European stuff, it's easier to find a lot of the movies I feel like you and I like a lot and have talked about and are kind of knowledgeable about, which is great. It's like they're finally, like in mass available, which is awesome.
Yeah, totally. All right, man. So hang in there. And maybe I'll see you in person at some point in the next few weeks. Like that would be really cool if we could somehow be released from these prisons that we've been in, and
no, man. I think we've got some better days in the near future. So be healthy and be well, Mike.
And everyone, thanks for tuning in, and we'll be coming back at you soon. Take care.
Yes, we will. Take care.